Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is door. D-O-O-R.
Really?
You bet your life. The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
It's a fine name for a grown man. Oh, that's me, Groucho Marx. Well, last week we dropped $3,500, so tonight we start fresh with $1,000 for one of our couples. George Fenneman, who gets first whack at it?
Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a bachelor and a spinster, and here they are, Mr. Maurice Hohenstein and Miss Irene Tom. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, for the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers. And if one of you says the secret word at any time, he wins $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you see every day. Bachelor and a spinster, eh? Miss Tom? How
Tom.
do you pronounce Tom?
Tom.
The H is silent, eh?
That's right.
Like in herring, eh? What kind of work do you do, Miss Tom?
I handle the retirement records and special pension files for General Petroleum Corporation.
And Mr. Havenstein?
That's right.
Is that right?
The name is Hohenstein. H-A-U.
Hohenstein, eh? Isn't there a cow that has that kind of a name?
Close to it.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Havenstein?
Well, I am office manager for the Owens, Illinois Glass Company.
Mm-hmm. Why aren't you married, Mr. Havenstein?
Well, I think I'm pretty old now.
I don't know. Look at Barkley. Look at Mayor O'Dwyer. Huh? Look at Hedy Lamarr. I tell you, you look at O'Dwyer and I'll look at Hedy Lamarr. How old are you, Maurice?
44 now.
Well, that's a wonderful age for marriage, isn't it, Irene?
Oh, I think it is.
Just about right, huh? Just right, too, I'd say now. Maurice, how tall are you?
About 5'8".
And how tall is your ideal man, Irene?
Oh, about 5'7" or 5'8".
I'll bet if Maurice was a midget, your ideal man would be about 3'6". Has dodging women ever led you into any peculiar experience, Maurice?
Well, only one that I can think of.
Well, that's the one we want. Well, let's have this yarn, Maurice.
I don't know how fitting it is, but here in Los Angeles, I took a young lady up to the apartment of a boyfriend of mine, and no one was home.
Well, so far you're okay, huh?
I couldn't get in, but I knew how to get in because he'd always lose his key, so we would push the garbage can aside and enter.
You had the garbage can in the living room?
When you were out in the hall, you could enter through the garbage entrance to get in to unlock the front door.
Well, that's the wealthiest garbage you'll ever encounter. You just said door, and that's our secret word tonight, so you just won $100 in cash. Compliments of the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. Do you remember what we were talking about when the bell rang?
After I'd gotten inside, I had to go around to unlock the front door. I didn't know that the boyfriend had moved out about 3 weeks before.
Well, whose garbage was it?
When I got inside, there was a man and his wife in bed. I was pretty dumbfounded, and then I suddenly noticed he was getting out of bed in no uncertain terms. And of course, the front...
What do you mean in no uncertain terms?
I could see blood in his eye or something. He was after me. The front door was right handy there, but I didn't go out the front door. I went back out this garbage hole.
Well, that's certainly a very romantic interlude in your life. As a confirmed bachelor, Maurice, who cooks your meals and rinses the gravy out of your neckties?
Oh, almost anyone that's around.
Irene, are you a pretty good cook?
Well, I think I am.
What kind of a dish do you like to whip up? Anything in particular?
Well, I like fried chicken, but then, of course, I do have a recipe that I'm rather proud of that I like to serve to my friends called Rinkum Ditty.
Rinkum Ditty, did you say? Maurice, do you like Rinkum Ditty? You've never heard of Rinkum Ditty? Maurice, you've certainly led a sheltered and cloistered life. Irene, you're not trying to poison Maurice.
No.
What is Rinkum Ditty?
Well, it's really a Welsh rarebit.
Maurice, you obviously need a good woman to look after you. If Irene proposed to you right now, what would your answer be? Would it be no?
Yes.
Well, you've changed your mind, eh, Irene? Here he is, struggling but still alive, huh? Well, congratulations to you two. I know you'll be very happy. And remember, Maurice, the secret word tonight is Rinkum Ditty. Well, I must say you make a charming and attractive couple, and apparently you have a great deal in common. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to work together for a chance at $1,000. You bet your life.
The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America have certain standards which they do their utmost to live up to. You might call this set of standards their creed. It means a lot to them and to you as a car owner. This creed states that every DeSoto Plymouth dealer wants to and intends to treat you fairly and squarely, whether you come in for a new car, a used car, or just a simple repair job. It's the honest desire of everyone in the office and in the shop at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers to serve you to the best of his or her ability. Isn't this the kind of attention you want? Well then, wherever you drive, visit the DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Now let's see if the next bachelor and the next spinster will be the ones who get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. Fenneman, bring them up to date on the rules.
Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. The couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,000 question at the end of the show. Our other 2 couples are in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know what's going on out here.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected cities and states as your category. Is that right? All of these cities are over 50,000 in population. Now, here's your first question. You have $20. How much are you going to try?
$10?
$10? Okay. Now, in what state is the city of Providence?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is right.
And they're on their way with $30, Groucho.
All right. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 30 are you going to try?
10 more.
In what state is the city of Jacksonville?
Florida.
Florida is right.
They're climbing. They have $40 now.
So here's your third question. How much of the 40 will you bet?
$20.
In what state is the city of Patterson?
New Jersey.
New Jersey is correct.
They're really on their way. They have $60.
Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 60 will you bet?
$30.
$30. In what state is the city of Sioux City?
Iowa.
Iowa is right.
And they wind up with $90.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Stick around now. You may get a chance at the big question.
Groucho, the secret word is still door.
I know that, George.
Well, perhaps the next couple will say it, too. We have a butler, Groucho, and a housewife selected from the studio audience just before we went on the air. And here they are, Mrs. Irene Colt and Mr. Urbano Galandanis. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks, to You Bet Your Life. And if one of you says the secret word, he wins $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you see every day. A housewife and a butler, huh? Mrs. Butler, you're the housewife?
No, I'm Mrs. Gold.
What sort of work do you do?
I'm just a homemaker.
You do
Housewife.
Nothing.
Nothing. What do you mean, nothing?
And Mr. Galandinas, is that right?
That's right, sir.
You must be the butler, huh? Where are you from?
From the Philippines, sir.
The Philippines, huh? Well, what do you do as a butler? Just what do you do?
See that the house runs smoothly.
House runs smoothly? You work in a trailer? What was the best job you had as a butler, Mr. Galandinas?
I work for a millionaire.
Oh, a millionaire. Huh? What was their name?
Oh, I would rather not say. That would embarrass him.
Well, could you give me their phone number? Huh? No, they might be looking for a gardener. I know I'm looking for a gardener. He stole my last bag of fertilizer.
Long distance, sir.
Tell me about their house. How many rooms?
Oh, there are 17 rooms in the house.
70 rooms?
17
rooms, huh? And how many servants? Huh?
14 servants.
14 servants, huh? What were their jobs?
Oh, butler, second butler, chambermaid, upstairs maid, downstairs maid, cook, chef cook, second cook.
What does the second cook do? Just succotash?
Oh, yeah. He cooks all the food.
Now, Mr. Gallandinus, in your job with a big household, what's the first thing you do in the morning?
Get up from bed, sir.
No, let's say you're up now. I mean, what's the what's the first thing you do?
First thing to do is to see that the breakfast is served. The maids carry the trays to the ladies, and I, the butler, carry the food to the gentlemen, to the boss.
You got the wrong job, haven't you? Can't you ever switch with the maids?
Never, sir.
Now, Irene, can you have breakfast in bed if you want it?
I could if I went out and cooked it and took it back to bed.
You wouldn't have to do that, Irene. At night, all you got to do is fill your hot water bag with coffee. And in the morning, you can fry your eggs on the electric blanket. What else do you do on your job, Urbano? Do you help the master with his clothes?
Well, when he has no valet, sir, then I takes care of that.
Let's say this fellow's a pauper who can't afford a valet. Now, what about the lady of the house? Who helps her with her dressing?
Oh, upstairs maid, sir.
How do you know, you rascal? Do you have an upstairs maid, Irene?
I don't even have an upstairs.
I had an upstairs maid once, but she gave me a lot of trouble. She wouldn't stay upstairs. Well, Mr. Gallandinus, if taxes get any higher, my advice to you is to stop being a butler and become a tax collector. Now, you're going to work together as a team for a chance at $1,000. You run your $20 into more than our other couples, and you'll get a crack at the DeSoto Plymouth Big Question. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but George Fenneman is off stage to remind our listeners.
The Bachelor and the Spinster won $90.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected famous women athletes as your category. All right, now you have $20. How much are you going to try?
$10.
With what sport do you associate Babe Dietrichson?
Golf.
Well, Golf is right, yes.
And they're on their way with $30.
All right, remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the $30 will you try?
20.
$20. What sport is Mildred Burke famous in? B-U-R-K-E.
Mildred Burke.
I'm sorry, it's wrestling. She's the world's champion wrestler.
Mildred Burke?
Mildred Burke. We had her on this program. She threw me twice in 3 minutes.
They now have $10.
Well, now you have $10, and here's your third question. How much of the 10 are you going to bet?
Shoot the works.
Shoot the works?
$5.
$5. All right. How much you gonna bet, huh? You want to compromise and make it $8?
Okay.
$8? Here's your third question. With what sport is Louise Brough associated? B-R-O-U-G-H.
Tennis.
Tennis is correct.
On the way again, I believe they have $18.
All right. Oh, what a mathematical genius that Fenneman is, huh? You've got $18. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 18 are you going to throw?
Send it on. 15.
How much? Okay. With what sport is Shirley Mae France associated?
Swimming.
Swimming is correct.
And they wind up with $33.
You wind up with $33. Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Now, in just a minute, our last couple will be out here, and then we'll all get the chance at the $1,000. Fenneman, who's leading?
The Bachelor and the Spinster are leading with $90. And the secret word is still door. Perhaps the next couple will say it. We invited some tourist experts to the show tonight, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Miss Josette Frontin from the French consulate and Mr. Al Kostler, who drives a sightseeing bus. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers, and if one of you says the secret word, he wins $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you see every day. Miss Josette Frontin, is that right? Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Not very correctly. It is Frontin.
Is Frontin?
Yes.
Oh. You're from the French consulate?
Yes, I am.
Parlez-vous français? You speak French, eh?
Yes, I speak French.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
You are welcome.
I think this girl's a phony, huh? She hasn't said one word of French. Mademoiselle Eau de Cologne? That means I'll pay for the perfume later. Let's see you knock off some French.
Oh, bien sûr que je parle français. J'arrive juste de France et c'est juste un petit peu pour vous entendre.
I knew you were French. Yeah? I know lots of French phrases. Ile de France, that means I'm sick of my friends. Chateaubriand, that means my hat's on fire. Where are you from, Josette?
I am from Dinah in Brittany.
You're from Dinah?
Yes.
What time did you have that, huh? I'm from Hungary, if that anything like it.
No. That's not the
Where is
one.
Dinah?
It is in Brittany by the seaside.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Who are you, Mr. Kosler?
I'm a sightseeing bus driver.
Oh. You speak English?
Yes, sir.
What dialect do you speak, Al? I'll call you Al. Huh?
I'm from Colorado, Grand Junction.
Mm-hmm. You speak French?
No, sir.
It's too bad. It would have been much easier if you spoke French, then we could all three of us converse in the language of diplomacy. I hope you don't mind if we speak English.
Oh, I think it would be very much better.
Oui, patty foie gras. Huh? What do you work for, Mr. Kosler?
The Tanner Gray Line Motor Tours.
And what are the Tanner lines? Huh?
Well, we operate over all of Southern California, Nevada, and
who do you operate on?
Arizona.
Huh?
But sightseeing buses.
You operate on sightseeing buses?
Yes.
What do you use, a hatchet or? Now, what questions do your touring passengers ask most frequently, Al? Please stop at the next filling station.
Mostly,
I want to phone my sister. What do they ask mostly, huh?
Mostly to how they can get into a movie studio and see movie stars.
What are some of the movie stars' homes that you point out, Al?
We pass Loretta Young's home, and Joanne Crawford, Eddie Cantor, Jack Benny's, and
Don't you go past my house?
we pass within about a half a block of you.
Well, if I knew when you were coming, I could walk up and meet the bus. Huh? Well, let's get back to you, Frenchie. What do you do at the French consulate? Are you an ambassador?
No, I'm not an ambassador. I work with the French commercial attaché.
Attaché? What is that? Is that when you stick somebody with a sword?
Oh, no, that is touché.
Touché.
Yes.
Is two attachés one touché? Say, I'm picking up quite a lot of the language. Well, just what? Huh?
That means attached.
Attached. Yeah. And tell me, Josette, are you attached to the attaché?
Oh, no, the attaché is attached to the French consulate.
Well, I hope they'll be very happy together. Well, are you attached to anybody, Josette?
No, I'm single.
Ooh la la! That's French bus driver. think you understand what I mean. Huh? Well, how is an attractive French pastry like you is still in the bakery? Surely 50 million Frenchmen can't be wrong.
Well, there are not so many French men in United States.
Well, would you have to marry a Frenchman? Couldn't you marry one of the home guard? Huh?
Well, I think I could be interested in some American man, especially if he had some of the Frenchman qualities.
I see. Well... Mon chéri, what do you have in mind?
Yes, I would like him to be kind, thoughtful, gallant, courteous, debonair, and also what you call a good sport.
Well, what I call a good sport may not be the same as what you call it. How do you feel about American husbands, Al?
I think they're kind and gentle and big-hearted, handsome and well-heeled.
Well, Al, are you that kind of a husband?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Don't you know what kind of a husband you are?
I'm not married.
Touché, Al. That's French, meaning I make the jokes around here. What do you find most interesting about the United States, Josette?
Oh, I think that is the fact that every people, Germans, Spaniards, English, French, just seems to be happy to live together and just like if they were a big family. They are all American.
Well, you're very observant, Josette. Perhaps someday the whole world will see it that way, too. As secretary for the commercial attaché, just what are your duties?
My job covers a lot of territory.
You mean your boss chases you around the office? Well, what do you mean, Miss Frontin?
I mean, I have to answer the phones and the letters, sometimes some funny ones. And also, I receive the people wishing to go for a trip over to France.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to go to France, and I'm planning on going there next summer. What kind of a trip would you suggest for me?
Well, in what are you especially interested?
The same thing any other red-blooded American. The Eiffel Tower. Well, I've learned a lot about France tonight and also about bus drivers. Now, let's see if you two will win the most money and get the chance at the $1,000 question. Beat our other two couples, and that's all you have to do. I can't tell you how much they won, but George is slinking around off stage to remind our listeners.
The Bachelor and the Spinster are still leading with $90.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected stars of current movies as your category. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, here's your first question. You have $20. How much will you try?
Better just take $5.
$5. Who plays Samson and Samson and Delilah? No? That's a pretty easy question, now. You should have guessed it. Well, it's Victor Mature. Now you have $15. Well, all right. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight, so that's the big prize. Now, how much of the 15 will you try?
Make it 10, then.
Make it 10. All right. Who is the male star of Sands of Iwo Jima?
John Agar and John Wayne.
John Wayne is right. Huh?
Well, they're on the way now. They have $25.
All right, now you got $25. Here's your third question. How much of the 25 will you try?
10.
Who plays the title role in Thelma Jordan? Take a guess.
I don't know it.
No.
I'm sorry. It's Barbara Stanwyck. All right, now you have $15. How much are you going to bet now?
You better say 15.
You want to shoot the works?
Yeah.
Okay, 15. Who stars in The Western Montana?
Earl Flynn.
Errol Flynn is correct.
And they wind up with $30. And that means the Bachelor and the Spinster get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. This year, the one thing all of us could count on as far as weather went was that it would be unpredictable. And of course, this is all the more reason to have our cars operating in tip-top shape. Many people have discovered this year that it pays to go to an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer, whether it's an emergency or a routine checkup. For there you get expert, courteous service at the lowest possible cost. In fact, that's a DeSoto Plymouth dealer's everyday way of doing business. Now, they're able to accomplish this because they have highly skilled mechanics in their shop. And these experts work with special factory-designed and approved tools. From the records they keep on your car, they're able to tell you, for example, when your engine is ready for a tune-up or new lubrication. They'll tell you when your tires should be rotated to add thousands of miles to their life. For the best from your car, stop in where you get the best service at an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. And here is the bachelor and the spinster, the winning couple, all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question, Groucho.
All right, here we go for $1,000. Ready? I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on one single answer between you. So think carefully, and please, no help from the audience. Here it is. Recently, in a big shakeup of personnel, a new chief of naval operations was appointed to succeed Admiral Denfield, who is the present chief of naval operations. What is the answer you two have decided upon?
I'm afraid I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry, it's Admiral Forrest Sherman. So that means the big question next week will be worth $1,500. Well, you lost the big money, but you won $90 in the quiz, plus $100 for saying the secret word. Congratulations, and thanks to both of you.
You Bet Your Life is a John Goodell production, transcribed from Hollywood, directed by Bob Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, You Bet Your Life, presented by the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation. And don't forget, next week, the big question will be worth $1,500.
Before winding up tonight's proceedings, I'd like to thank the radio editors of the United States and Canada for voting our show the best quiz program on the air in the annual poll conducted for Fame magazine. Well, it's almost time for Bing Crosby, so good night, folks, and remember, just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Here's a tip from the National Safety Council. The golden rule applies in driving, too. Drive as you would have the other fellow drive. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
Gentlemen, the secret word tonight is heart. H-E-A-R-T.
Really?
You Bet Your Life. The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
Groucho! Well, spring is just around the corner. I wish I was. Hey, that's me, Groucho Marx. Thank you. Well, here I am again with $1,500 for one of our couples tonight. George Fenneman, who gets first whack at it?
We asked if there were any couples here tonight who had been married more than 50 years, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mr. and Mrs. A.S. Thacker, and here they are. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And if you say the secret word at any time we're talking, you'll win $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you always have with you. So you two are married more than 50 years, eh? How long have you been married, Mrs. Thacker?
50 years and last November.
And how long have you been married, Mr. Thacker? How does it feel to be celebrating your 50th wedding anniversary, Mr. Thacker?
Well, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
About the same as the 49th, I suppose. And how was the 48th? Do you remember that?
About the same.
About the same. Well, let's try the 39th. How was that year? Huh?
Well, it was wonderful, too.
Yes, that was a great year, the 39th. How long have you been in California, Mr. Thacker?
27 years.
Mm-hmm. And why did you come here?
Well, we was living at Spokane at that time, and I wanted a warmer climate.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it have been cheaper to put on heavy underwear? Where did you formerly reside, Mrs. Thacker? Before that, I mean.
In Texas, Gainesville, Texas.
Was that near Nacogdoches or Denison or...
Yes.
I was once pinched in Nacogdoches for playing euchre on the front porch of the hotel. It happened to be on a Sunday. You're not allowed to play euchre on Nacogdoches on Sunday. As a matter of fact, the way I played, they shouldn't have allowed it on Saturday either. May I ask how old you were when you got married, Mrs. Thacker?
20.
20, yeah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you when Mrs. Thacker took you out of circulation?
I was 26.
Were you 76?
I'm 77 now.
77. Well, you just passed the spirit of 76. What sort of work do you do now, Mr. Thacker?
I don't work.
You're a bum? You look so prosperous, Mr. Thacker. You worked a mere 50 years and then quit? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Don't you want to amount to something when you grow up? Do you have any children, Mitty?
Yes, sir. I have 2 sons.
You have 2 sons. That's in Arizona, isn't it? Do you have any grandchildren,
Yes.
Mrs. Thacker?
Yes, sir. I have 2.
2. Do you have any great-grandchildren?
No, sir.
Do you have any great-great-grandchildren?
No, sir.
You're in a rut. Now, after all these years of marriage, do you have any pet name for your wife, Mr. Thacker?
Yes, sir. I always called her Sweetheart.
Well, you just said hot, and that was the secret word, so you just won $100 in cash. Compliments of the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we are definitely using heart as the secret word tonight in honor of the 1950 Heart campaign now going on all over America. And Mrs. Thacker, what do you call 23 Skidoo here?
I call him Shorty.
You call him Shorty? Is that for any financial reason? Or... Do you remember who did the proposing when you were engaged, Mr. Thacker?
Yes, sir, I did.
Well, what did she say after you proposed?
I don't have any idea.
Maybe she said no. How do you know? This could all be a horrible mistake. Mrs. Thacker, do you remember exactly what you said when he proposed?
No.
You said no. Well, then I was right. It is a horrible mistake. Well, seriously, it's been inspiring having you two here with a 50-year marriage. You've set a fine example for the young couples of America. And I hope you'll invite me to your 75th anniversary. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to work together for a chance to win a lot of money. You bet your life.
Your DeSoto Plymouth dealer pledges himself to treat you fairly and squarely, day after day, year after year. In fact, that's the way the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America feel about all the customers they serve. That's their pledge, and they'll do their utmost to live up to it at all times. No matter why you drive into a DeSoto Plymouth dealer's, you'll find it the honest desire of all the folks there to serve you to the very best of their ability. They know that's the kind of attention that will make you a satisfied and steady customer in the years to come. That's why it pays to stop where you see the sign of an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth.
Now then, let's see if you two youngsters will get the chance at the $1,500. Fenneman, tell them the rules.
Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. The couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question at the end of the show. Our other 2 couples are in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know what's happening out here.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected name the fruit as your category. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, here's your first question. You have $20, and how much will you risk?
10.
What type of fruit is a pippin?
Apple.
An apple is right.
And they're on their way with $30.
You're on your way, as Fenneman says. Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. How much of your $30 will you try?
$10.
$10. What is a bartlett?
Pear.
A pear is correct.
Now they have $40, Groucho.
Now you have $40, huh? Here's your third question. How much of the 40 will you try?
20.
What kind of fruit is a muscat? M-U-S-C-A-T.
It's a fruit.
Do you think it's a grape? And you think it's a grape? Well, it is a grape.
They're climbing now. They have $60, Groucho.
Now you have $60. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 60 are you going to go for?
How much you say, Mother?
I said 30.
Okay, 30 then.
What is meant by a yellow cling?
A yellow cling is a peach.
Is the peach is right.
And they wind up with a grand total of $90.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Now, don't go away now. You might get a chance at the big question.
Groucho, the secret word is still heart.
Yes, George.
Perhaps the next couple will say it.
Yes, George.
Just before we went on the air, our
George.
studio audience selected Blanche Ames, a department store buyer, and Mr. Alexander Atkinson, a married man. And here they are. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. One of you says the secret word, he wins $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Mr. Atkinson, huh?
Right.
You're the married man?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very happily married.
Very happy.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
There's no point in getting pugnacious about it.
Very
Atkinson, are you related to the dramatic critic on the New York Times?
I'm related to a former governor of Georgia.
Well, that's not
you're
quite
talking
the
about
same thing.
Brooks Atkinson.
I mean Brooks Atkinson.
Oh, yes. He's a distant relative.
You see, well, he must be
Yeah.
if you're here and he's in New York. Where are you from, Mr. Atkinson?
I'm from the land of sunshine, flowers, beautiful women, juicy oranges, and no smog.
Are you inferring that we have smog here in California, Mr. Atkinson?
Oh, that's what I've heard. Of course, I live out in beautiful, enchanting San Fernando Valley myself. I don't get out in Los Angeles very much myself.
You see.
I'm kind of intrigued with San Fernando Valley. The promised land.
Well, they've been promising a lot. I don't know whether... Offhand, I would say you're a realtor. Is that right?
Well, I have a little property down in Florida, but recently I got a letter saying...
that it was underwater?
That they discovered... They discovered land on my property down there.
They discovered land on your property? That's a mighty good joke. Do you mind if I use that next week?
You have my permission, all right.
Just what is your profession, Mr. Atkinson?
Well, back during the Hoover prosperity that we were having back in the 30s...
I beg your pardon. Please, not while I'm smoking, huh?
I got tired of eating the grapefruit and oranges. That's about all I had to eat, so I wanted a little meat. I just go out and catch the bullfrogs at night. I go out at night and catch these frogs, and you take them and fry them in butter. Man, that's better than southern fried chicken.
Well, I must try that sometime.
These tourists came down there.
And,
you know, these are Yankees. Anyway, they kind of took a liking for these.
What do you do now, Senator Claghorn?
Well, at the present time, it's my good fortune to be associated with the finest studio in Hollywood. That comes from the bottom of my heart. That's Warner Brothers. We are really doing
wait a minute.
things.
Mr. Atkinson, you went on gabbing so long that you finally won $100. You said heart, and that's the secret word. So you win $100 in cash, compliments of the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. Huh? I certainly will. Mr. Atkinson, are you related to the Atkinson of New York? Huh?
I tell you, I got relatives everywhere, and Georgia's filled full of them. I got relatives all over Georgia.
Yeah, well, you could talk yourself into relatives. How do you do, Miss Ames?
How do you do?
No, I asked you first. How do you do, huh? This is high-class cocktail conversation. You're a department store buyer, is that right?
That's right.
Uh-huh. How many department stores have you bought this week?
I don't buy department stores. I buy for a department store.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Well, which one?
Orbach.
You're from Orbach, you say?
And Philadelphia.
Did you buy department stores back in Philadelphia?
I'm afraid you don't follow me.
Well, even if I did, there's nothing to be afraid of. Where do you do this buying, Blanche?
At Orbach's in the Oval Room.
What do you buy for them?
I buy better dresses.
Better dresses? And who buys the worst ones? Did you ever buy any dresses that your store can't sell?
I get stuck with a few white elephants.
White elephants, huh? I can see why you get stuck with them. What do you do with these white elephants?
Well, when they don't move, why, we usually mark them down for sale.
If they don't move, they must be dead, is that it? Imagine a store full of dead white elephants. Must be quite a problem on a hot day, huh? Well, where do you keep them? Where do you keep these dead white elephants, huh?
Well, we hang them on racks.
Oh, no wonder they're dead, huh? Now, let's be calm and go at this thing scientifically, Blanche, huh? Now, what I originally asked you, Blanche, was do you ever buy any dresses for your store that you can't sell?
Yes, I'm afraid...
Are they changing the styles this year, Blanche?
Yes, the trend is more towards the shorter skirt.
Do you think we could speed up that trend a little? After all, I haven't got so long to go, you know. Well, where are skirts being worn now? And don't tell me around the waist, huh? Where are they being worn now, Blanche?
About halfway between the knee and the floor.
It sounds like you need new elastic in your suspenders. Well, wake up, Mr. Atkinson. How long does your wife wear her dresses?
About 2 or 3 years.
Okay, go back to sleep, Mr. Atkinson. I'll wake you up as soon as Thurman runs again. Well, we know a good deal about department stores and elephants. Now, you're going to work together for a chance at $1,500. You beat our other two couples, and you get a chance at the big question later. I can't tell you how much the first couple won, but Fenneman's off stage to remind our listeners.
Mr. and Mrs. Thacker, who've been married for 50 years, earn $90.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected romantic songs as your category. Here's your first question. You have $20. How much are you going to risk?
10.
Let's see if you can identify this song. Play, Jerry.
Sweet and lovely.
Sweet and lovely. We're on our way with $30, Groucho. Remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. Now, how much of the $30 will you try?
20.
What's the name of this romantic song? Okay, Jerry.
Some secluded rendezvous.
What is it? Talk up. One answer between you.
In some secluded rendezvous. Oh. Cocktails for two.
Cocktails for two.
Illinois Dolly has $50.
Well, you came through in the last quarter there, Blanche. All right, here's your third question. How much of the 50 will you try?
40.
Give me the title of this song.
Once in a while.
Once in a while.
They're really climbing now. They have $90.
All right, you got $90. Now, how
The
much
whole
you going
90. The whole 90.
Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. You're going to go for the 90?
Go for the 90.
What's this song? Give me the title.
Small hotel.
Small Hotel is right.
And they wind up with $180.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Now, we'll soon know who gets the chance at the $1,500 question. Fenneman, who's ahead?
The department store buyer and the married man are leading with $180. And the secret word is still heart. We invited some hobos and some job analysts to the show tonight. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mrs. Evelyn Robbins and Mr. Bill Hewitt.
Fenneman, where on earth did you ever get a hobo?
Oh, you have to ask the hobo, Groucho. And here they come. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to the DeSoto Plymouth program. If one of you says the secret word, he wins $100 instantly. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Okay, now I'll find out where the hobo comes from. Miss Robbins, where are you from?
New York. New York.
How long have you lived out here?
3 years.
3 years. Well, you add quite some beauty to the local scene.
Thank you.
Who do you work for?
The Ames Bureau of Employment.
What do you do there?
Well, I'm a job analyst.
And what is the function of a job analysis?
Well, we interview people, we screen them, and we test them. We try to determine what type of position they're best suited for.
You don't analyze jobs, and you just analyze people. Is that right?
You could say that.
I already did say that. Now, by sifting through all the facts about Evelyn here, I gather that you're the hobo. Is that right?
That's right.
Let me hear you put a bite on me for a cup of coffee. Now, go ahead.
Hobo don't put the bite on anybody for a cup of coffee.
What do you mean? I've had them ask me for coffee.
Well, that's a tramp. A tramp asks you for a cup of coffee. A hobo goes out and gets it different. He runs a butcher shop for meats and the bakery for toppings, and then he cooks it up.
Bakery for what?
Toppings. That's day old bread, stale stuff.
Well, if you want stale stuff, just listen to me here. Huh? How do you get it from the butcher? I mean, you walk in there and he throws you a hunk of meat? Huh?
Well, you give him a song and dance. Just tell him, say, I'm trying to cook up something down in the jungles down here, and I like to have a little meat. It's a good idea to have something under your arm, like some potatoes, and say, look, Mac, I got a loaf of bread here. How about give me a little meat to go with it? They're easy. It's a pushover.
Yeah. I'll try that tomorrow, huh? Tell me, Bill, as a knight of the road, how do you live, huh?
Oh, sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Like an actor, huh? Where do you live?
Well, if I'm working in the city like bellhop or dishwasher, I rent a room. If I'm not working, I live in the jungle.
Well, when you're camping in the jungle, as you call it, what kind of meals do you make?
Make a mulligan stew.
Well, how do you make mulligan stew? Do you get them angry first, or?
Well, first you gotta have a lot of meat, see?
A lot of meat, eh? Yeah. Well, you're back in the butcher shop again. Huh?
Then you throw in a lot of vegetables, your own salt and pepper and everything you get, and you cook it in an open fire and you can.
Well, suppose you can't get any meat.
Well, that wouldn't be a mulligan stew then.
No, well, what would you have then? Huh?
That'd be slumgullion, I guess.
What do you drink with your slumgullion?
Oh, battery acid.
Battery acid? Yeah. Well, you should at least be able to start on a cold morning, huh? Just what is battery acid?
Well, that's fresh coffee. The first time it's you boil it off. After that, it's no longer battery acid.
What do you use it over again?
Sure, then, but it's not battery acid then. That's dishwater mud. Yeah.
How many times do you cook it over?
Oh, That all depends on conditions. If you got a lot of coffee, it's not necessary. Sometimes when things are tough, you got to boil it over a lot of times.
In my house, it tastes like dishwater the first time. How do you keep in touch with people when you're on the road? Where do you get your mail?
Oh, mostly general delivery. You know.
Yeah, well, what kind of work do you do when you're working, Bill?
Oh, any kind of work. I've been a sailor. I was a fireman. I worked on deck. Worked in copper mines. Been bellhop. Worked in harvest fields.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you get from place to place? Do you ride the rods?
Oh, they haven't rode the rods in 25 years. I started first on the whole board in 1950, and I was 15 years old. Yeah, I ride boxcars, ride a reefer.
What's a reefer?
A reefer's the end of a fruit car when it's not iced. And you ride a tender, ride the blinds on a passenger train, ride the deck.
Pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
What kind of car do you prefer?
Well, I prefer Pullman, but...
Well, I mean in lieu of a Pullman, huh?
Well, that depends
Let's say there isn't a Pullman available, huh? That's been de-iced.
Well, that depends on the weather. If it's in the summertime, I like an open gondola where I can see and get the fresh air.
Well, what do you like best about the life you lead?
Well, I like to be free. I don't like to be tied down. I like to go places. I like to get up in the morning when I want to. I don't want some wife telling me to get up or sticking her cold feet in my back.
You prefer a refrigerator car to a woman, is that it? Well, this has been very interesting, and having you here tonight. And how are you going to try for a chance at the $1,500 question? You beat our other two couples, and you win a chance at all that money. I can't tell you how much our other couples won, but Fenneman's going to remind our listeners.
The department store buyer and the married man are ahead with $180.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected Islands of the World as your category. Is that right? Now you have $20. How much are you going to try?
$15.
$15. What ocean do you find the Hawaiian Islands?
Pacific.
Pacific Ocean is right.
On their way with $35.
Well, remember, you're going for $1,500 tonight. Now, how much of the 35 will you try?
25.
25. In what ocean do you find Greenland?
In North Atlantic.
In the Atlantic is right.
They now have $60, Groucho.
Now you have $60. Here's your third question. How much of the 60 will you risk?
50.
In what sea do you find the island of Corsica?
Corsica? The Mediterranean.
The Mediterranean is right.
They're really climbing now. They have $110.
Say, you must have done a lot of reading in those boxcars.
Oh, I sailed in there during this war.
Oh, I see. Well, here's your last chance to beat the other couples. Now you have $110.
$100.
$100. In what ocean do you find the Isle of Tahiti?
That's in the Pacific.
In the Pacific is right.
And they wind up with $210. And that means that they get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question. You know, you have a perfect right to be particular about the way your car is serviced. And that's why more and more car owners every day drive in to DeSoto Plymouth dealers. For that's where you get expert, courteous service at the lowest possible cost. You see, DeSoto Plymouth dealers are just as particular about your car as you are yourself. They have factory-trained mechanics working with factory-designed and approved tools and equipment. They see to it that the service they offer in their shops is the best service you can get anywhere. The more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers throughout America take pride in their reputation for fast, efficient, courteous service. Remember this next time your car needs service. And drive in at the sign of an authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here's the hobo and the job analyst, the winning couple, all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,500 question, Groucho.
Well, if you win this, you're really going to be able to ride in Pullmans. Here we go for $1,500. Ready? I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on one single answer between you, so think carefully and please no assistance from the audience. Here it is. In 1914, the United States Army finished its biggest peacetime job. What is the biggest peacetime job ever accomplished by the Army? All right, what is the answer you two have decided upon? Panama Canal is right. Well, you had the right answer, so you won $1,500. What are you going to do with all that money? Bill, what are you going to do with yours?
Well,
My heart stops jumping.
Well, Evelyn, you just said the secret word, and you just won $100 in cash, and now my heart is stopping. Well, now, Evelyn, what are you going to do with all that money?
I don't know.
You're just dumbfounded, huh? Well, I'll help you spend it, Evelyn. And, Bill, what are you going to do with yours?
Well, first I'm going to ride...
Boy, a lot of slumgullion with that, huh?
I'm going to ride that preferred berth you talked about.
Well, you really cleaned up tonight. You won $210 in the quiz and $100 for the secret word and $1,500. All I can say to you both is congratulations. From the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast, you bet your life.
You Bet Your Life is a John Goodell production, transcribed from Hollywood, directed by Bob Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, You Bet Your Life. Presented by the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation. And don't forget, next week, the big question will be worth $1,000.
Penniman, if you have nothing better to do this week, why don't you see our new movie, Love Happy? Harpo Chico and I tell a few jokes and do some acting. It's very educational. Well, it's almost time for Bing Crosby, so good night, folks, and remember... just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Here's a tip from the National Safety Council. Traffic control begins at your wheel. This is George Fenneman, signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is water. W-A-T-E-R.
Really?
You bet your life. The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
I thought he went where the wild goose goes. Oh, that's me, Groucho Marx. Thank you. Well, here I am again with $1,000 for one of our couples tonight. George Fenneman, who's first?
A couple of Irish people selected from our studio audience just before we went on the air. It's our way of noticing St. Patrick's Day, Groucho, and here they are, Miss Beth O'Haggerty and Mr. John Daniger. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And if one of you says the secret word, he wins $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you use every day. Mr. how do you pronounce it?
Danaher.
Danaher.
Yes.
What do you got that G in there? Just to fool people? That's a real Irish name, huh?
Real Irish, you bet your life. It's a real Irish name.
And we got a plug for the show, too. Where are you from, Paddy, me lad?
I'm from Roscommon on the banks of the Shannon in the west part of Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds pretty authentic. Huh? How long since you were in Ireland?
42 years.
And after all these years, you still have a touch of the old sod?
You betcha. Yes, sir.
Have you tried Fell's Naphtha and a good stiff brush? Miss O'Haggerty, at least I can pronounce that, huh? Beth O'Haggerty, huh?
That's right.
Which part of Ireland are you from, Beth?
Well, I didn't come from Ireland.
And how is it you're Irish? Was one of your ancestors a policeman?
Both of my grandparents came from Ireland.
Oh, I see. Then you're Irish twice removed. I've been twice removed from Ireland myself. Well, if you're not from Ireland, where are you from, Miss O'Haggerty?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Well, you're a fine-looking lass.
Thank you.
Why is it you're not married, Beth? Beautiful girl like you.
Oh, I just never found any man that was strong enough to take me away from my job, my career.
What are you, a wrestler?
No.
What is this tenacious job that you stick to like adhesive tape, huh?
Well, at present, it's secretary in the tax and insurance department at Paramount.
Yeah, I was there a couple weeks ago. I did a scene in Bing Crosby's picture, Mr. Music. You didn't see me tripping the light fantastic there.
Well, my job doesn't have much contact with the talent.
Well, mine doesn't either. But nevertheless, I'm in that picture. How old are you, Mr. Doniger?
60 years.
60? Well, you don't look it, huh? You're a fine broth of a boy. And when I say broth, I don't mean Irish stew, huh? Well, you're a little old here for Beth, aren't you, huh?
I think so. I really think I am. But besides, I'm married.
Well, then it's not very important, huh? How did you meet your spouse, Johnny?
Well, it's
well,
about
there's more to it than that, I hope.
It's about 45 years ago. It was in a small town on the west of Ireland, and she was out on the street chasing a chicken.
And you were doing the same thing, huh?
When I caught the chicken, I took the chicken back and I put it in the hen house at the back of her house. And then I went back the next night and made my acquaintance, and, well, that's all. I'm married to her now anyway.
What happened to the chicken?
I don't know. I never made any inquiries.
Patty, do you speak Gaelic?
A little bit, not much.
Well, could you give us a few words?
Well, K Wiltu, Tama Gamai, K Wiltu Hain, Gamai, Garima Haikut, Tasur of Agan, can take me a risto.
What does that mean, huh?
Well, it means, good evening, how are you? Oh, I'm fine, thank you, how are you?
Where's your chicken tonight?
I hope I'll see you again.
Could you tell me a joke in Gaelic?
No, I couldn't. I really couldn't tell you. I wouldn't be able to remember that. Now, what I could tell you is a short one in English, if it's any good to you.
Well, frankly, we could use a joke about here. Let's hear the one in English, huh?
Well,
don't make the English too good, or I won't understand it.
This isn't about the English. It's in the English language.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's about Pat that was up on the 4th floor in a building and was on fire. And he shouted to Mike down on the sidewalk, and he says, "Mike, I'm going to jump. Catch me." So he flopped down on the sidewalk, and Mike jumped away from him, and he flopped on the sidewalk and was stretched out. And he says, "Say, why didn't you catch me?" He says, "I was waiting to see if you'd bounce."
Well, Pat, if that joke is any indication, you're a much older man than I thought you were. Tell me, Mr. Donay, have you ever seen a leprechaun, huh?
No, I've never seen a leprechaun.
What is a leprechaun? Is it anything like a republican?
No. They're imaginary people.
Well, that's a republican, all right. They're imaginary people these days, too. Huh? Tell me, how do you usually celebrate St. Patrick's Day, Johnny?
Oh, take a couple of nips or something like, you know. Hang around the rest of the day and take it easy.
What's the real reason you Irish celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Well, because St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland, and he drove the snakes out of Ireland,
And where are they now? Huh? And then after a nip or two, I suppose they all came back again. Huh? Well, after talking to you two, all I can say is a happy St. Patrick's Day to you both. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to work together for a chance at $1,000. You bet your life.
When you call on any one of the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers, you'll find it's their honest desire to please you, no matter how small the job to be done. The DeSoto Plymouth dealers offer you the benefit of not only the best tools and equipment, not only the factory-trained mechanics, but they also feel it's important to be courteous, to give their customers a square deal. That's their creed, their way of doing business. So no matter where you drive, remember there are DeSoto Plymouth dealers anxious to serve you. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth.
Now let's see if an Irish Carleen and her partner will be the ones who get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. Fenneman, bring them up to date on the rules.
Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. The couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,000 question at the end of the show. Our other 2 couples are in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know what's going on out here.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected capitals of foreign countries as your category. Is that correct? Okay, now you have $20. How much are you going to risk?
10.
What is the capital city of Denmark?
Oslo.
Is that the answer you two agree upon? Do you agree with that, Beth? One answer between you now. I'm sorry, it's Copenhagen. Now remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. How much of the $10 will you bet?
5.
What is the capital city of the Netherlands?
Netherlands. Don't know.
Take a guess, Beth.
I can't even think at this point.
Well, it's Amsterdam.
They now have $5.
Now you're down to $5. Now here's your third question. How much of the 5 will you try?
The 5.
What is the capital city of Spain?
Madrid.
Madrid is right.
Well, on their way now. They have $10.
All right, now you got $10. Now here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 10 will you try?
10.
All right. What is the capital city of Portugal?
Lisbon.
Lisbon is right.
And they wind up with the $20 they started with.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Now don't go away. You may get a chance at the big question.
Groucho, the secret word is still water. Perhaps the next couple will say it. They're a barber, Mr. Arthur Fredman, and a housewife, Mrs. Dorsey Ridgeny, selected by our studio audience just before we went on the air. And here they are, folks. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. And if one of you says the secret word at any time, he wins $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you use every day. A barber and a housewife, eh? Mr. Friedman, you're the barber, I presume, huh?
That's right.
Well, there are lady barbers, you know. Where are you from, Mr. Friedman?
1533 Vine Street, side of Orr's Barbershop.
Is that where you were born? Huh?
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I thought perhaps you were born on the third chair as you come in. Huh? You were born where?
Minneapolis, Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes.
The land of 10,000 lakes, and you left all of them, is that it?
That's right.
Where are you from, Mrs. Rigney?
I'm from Green Acres, Washington.
What sort of work does your husband do?
My husband is a disabled veteran, but I'm a truck driver.
Truck? What kind of a truck?
Well, now I'm hauling house trailers with a truck.
People live in these
Oh,
things?
yes, people live in them.
And you pull them across the country while they're living in them?
No, I just pull them and set them on their lot, and they use that in place of the house, most of them.
Oh. How long have you been a barber, Mr. Friedman?
17 years.
17 years, huh? You don't look it. You're a very young-looking man. Where does your husband get his hair cut, Mrs.
Well, he doesn't have any steady barber.
What, is he stewed? Do your customers ever ask you what's a good way for a man to save his hair, Mr. Friedman?
Yes, they do.
Well, what do you tell them?
Put it in the cigar box.
You know, there's a sister joke to that one you just pronounced over there. The one where the fellow writes in and says, how do you avoid falling hair? And the fellow writes back, step nimbly to one side. You know, incidentally, I know of a hair tonic that'll grow hair in a frying pan. But who wants a hairy frying pan? No joke, but then this is a very old frying pan. How did you get to be a barber? Did you start out when you were a little shaver?
Went to barber college.
Huh?
I went to barber college.
You went to barber college?
Yes.
What influence has the electric razor had on the barber profession?
It cuts down the shaves about 25%.
Mm-hmm. And what do? Every time there's another razor sold, you raise the price of the shave. Is that it?
Do you use electric razor?
I use an electric razor, yes. Someday I hope to get the chair. You know, there's something I've always wanted to know. Where do you get all these old magazines for your customers?
We don't have old magazines.
Are you buying from dentists?
We don't have...
Or are you in business for yourself, huh? Where do you get them? You don't have old magazines?
No.
Well, if one of your customers brings in the latest issue of Look magazine, be sure to see it, will you? There's a flattering piece about me and our show in the current Look magazine. And maybe it'll help them forget that they just lost your ears in your barber shop. Huh? Why is it women don't get bald as often as men, Mr. Friedman?
Well, the female is different than the male.
Well, that's about as accurate a statement as I've ever heard. Nobody is more aware of that than I am, Mr. Friedman. Well, now let's see if a professional clipper like you and can clip an old cut-up like me for $1,000. Now, you beat the other couples and you earn the chance at the big question. I can't tell you how much our first couple won, but Fenneman's offstage to remind our listeners.
The Irish couple won $20.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You selected songs about anatomy as your category. Is that right?
That's right.
Now, you have $20. Here's your first question. How much of the 20 will you try?
10.
What's the name of this song? Okay, Jerry. Well, what do you say, kids? What do you say?
I'm
if
sorry.
the smoke gets in your eyes, huh? Now remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. That's the big prize anyway. Now, how much of the $10 will you try?
5.
$5? Give me the title of this song. Play, Jerry. Tiptoe Through the Tulips is right, huh?
They now have $15.
All right, now you got $15. How much of the 15 will you try?
10.
Okay, here's your third question. Let's see if you can identify this one for $10. What do you say, kids? Take a guess. I'm sorry, it's In My Arms. You should have known that.
They now have $5.
Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 5 will you try?
5.
What's the name of this song? Play. Take a guess.
Body and Soul.
Body and Soul is right.
And they wind up with $10.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Now, in just a minute, our last couple will try for the chance at $1,000. Fenneman, who's ahead?
Well, the Irish couple is leading with $20. And the secret word is still water. Perhaps the next couple will say it. We invited some collectors from the Bureau of Internal Revenue and some Hollywood business managers to the show tonight. And just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected collector William Kenny and manager Maurice Dolman. Gentlemen, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, gents, so you bet your life. And if one of you says the secret word, he wins $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you use every day. A business manager and an income tax collector. Is that right, Mr. Kenny?
That's right.
You're the income tax man, huh?
Yes, I am.
I recognized you by your short form, huh? Where are you from, Mr. Kenny?
I'm from Miami, Florida.
How long have you been an income tax collector?
About 7 months.
How did you happen to go into this nefarious trade, huh?
Well, I took the examination in Florida, and I wanted to come to California.
Well, you know, you can live in California without being with the Revenue Department, huh? Although it's not easy. What prompted you to become an income tax man? I mean, what did you do prior to that?
I was a bank examiner for the federal government.
Do you have a nickname, Mr. Kenny?
Yes,
What is it?
at school they call me Frog.
Why, did you hop around a lot in those days? Are you married, Froggy?
Oh, yes, I am.
And how helpful is marriage from the income tax standpoint?
Well, this year, wife is worth $600.
Well, everything's inflated these days. Is that alive, Mr. Kenny? Or... Has to be alive, huh?
She must be alive at the time of filing.
You don't care if they drop dead the following day, huh? How about children? What are they worth?
This year, kids are worth $600.
Hey, the little ones are worth just as much as the big ones, huh? Do you have any children, Mr. Kenny?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, then you're out $600, aren't you? By the process of elimination, I presume that you're the business manager, Mr. Dolman, huh?
I am.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York.
What outfit do you work for?
I'm in business for myself.
Oh, you mind your own business, huh? Just what do you do in your business?
I manage the business affairs of other people.
Then you don't mind your own business. What do you have to know to be a business manager, Mr. Dolman?
Well, primarily you have to have a good head for business.
Is that in addition to the one you carry around now? Well, Froggy, let's get back to you, huh? You're standing there dreaming of somebody you're going to soak tomorrow, huh? Specifically, what is your job with the Income Tax Department or the Bureau of Internal Revenue?
Well, we...
Pretty fancy name for a crooked outfit, huh?
We go out and track down delinquent taxpayers, and
Suppose a fellow owes you $7,000 and he has no money. What do you do then?
if he's got the money, we'll collect it. If he doesn't,
If he hasn't got it, you can't throw him in the can for that, though, huh?
If he hasn't got it, no, and he hasn't prepared a fraudulent return.
No.
But we don't put them in jail if they just don't have the money to pay the taxes.
That's a good thing to know, no? Now, what are some of the things we should know about income taxes? For example, should a married man file a joint return or a single return?
This year, it would be to his advantage to file a joint return with his wife, and that way he could take advantage of the split income provision.
When do I get my split? What's a joint return? Is that a nightclub with a money-back guarantee?
A joint return is where husband and wife file one return together and pool their income and prepare one tax return.
Now, in filing a joint return, how much am I allowed as a deduction for myself?
This year, you would be allowed $600 as head of the house.
That's just fantasy on your part, you know. I'm no more the head of the house than you are a frog, Mr. Kennedy. How about Mr. Dolman over here? Does he get another $600 off because of his extra head for business? Now, what is the difference, Froggy, between the short form and the long form?
Well, the short form, the 1040A, you can
That gets
claim...
in at 11 o'clock, huh?
You can claim, or that is on the short form, you can claim only 10% deductions of your gross income.
You carefully examine every form that comes into your office, Mr. Kenny?
No, we don't go over every form. We just look at the above the average forms. That is,
You mean the ordinary form you don't pay any attention to? Well, would you like me to come down and just look at the average form for you? I'm not as calloused as you are, you know. Why don't you examine every form?
Well, we just don't have the personnel to go over every form that goes in the office. But in regards to that, I want to add that we do pay particular attention to the farms that go into big figures.
This could get out of hand, you know. You must have an army of bookkeepers to go over all those forms. How long does it take you?
Well, it doesn't take long. We have a huge machine that is really a mechanical brain.
You have a mechanical brain? And Mr. Doman has two heads over here? I'm the only one around here with a single-track mind. I'm still thinking of those average forms. Now, if you were my business manager, Mr. Doman, how could you save me money on income taxes?
Well,
Oh, brother, are you on the spot now? I can see the handcuffs sticking out of his back pocket. I'll bring you an apple pie with a saw in it in the morning.
Well, what we do is keep proper record of your deductions.
Uh-huh.
In your business, you listen to the radio. You have to listen to other comedy programs that we can take depreciation on your radio.
I have to listen to other programs? I'd rather lose my deduction and not have to listen, huh? Now, suppose I was thinking of hiring you to help me take care of my business affairs, Mr. Dolman. I haven't any, but just pretend, huh? What would you want to know about me?
Well, first, I'd want to know if you were honest.
If I were honest, I wouldn't need your help, Mr. Dolman. Well, between the two of you, you succeeded in confusing all three of us. Now, you're going to try for a chance at $1,000. You beat the other two couples, and that's all you have to do. You're pretty smart fellas. I can't tell you how much they won, but Fenneman's going to remind our listeners.
The Irish couple is ahead with $20.
Here we go. Let's see how high you can build your $20. You selected instruments played by orchestra leaders as your category. Now, here's your first question. You have $20. How much will you try?
We'll try for 10.
Okay. What instrument does Harry James play?
Trumpet.
Trumpet is right.
Off to a good start. They have $30.
I want to warn you of one thing, boys. You know, if you win any money here tonight, you've got to put it on your tax. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 30 will you try?
20.
What instrument does Gene Krupa play?
Drums.
The drums is right, huh?
They're climbing now. They have $50.
All right, you got $50. Here's your third question. How much of the 50?
40.
What instrument does Tommy Dorsey play?
Trombone.
Trombone is right.
They're way up there now. They have $90.
Well, you slid right into that one with the trombone. Now, you got $90. Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much will you bet?
Shoot the works.
What instrument does Carmen Cavallero play?
Piano.
The piano is right.
And they wind up with $180. And that means the tax man and the business manager get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. What do you expect of the folks who service your car? Efficient service? Courteous service? Service at a fair price? Well, you get them all when you visit one of the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers. You'll find they're not only ready and willing, but able to give your car the very best in service. And that goes for the major repair jobs as well as the simpler ones. DeSoto Plymouth dealers have factory-trained mechanics who know cars inside and out, no matter what make or what year it happens to be. And in the hands of these expert mechanics are the most modern tools and equipment made. Yes, that's the kind of top service you can count on when you drive your car in at the sign of any authorized DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And here is the tax man and the business manager, the winning couple, all ready for the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question, Groucho.
Here we go for $1,000. Ready? I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you and think carefully. And please, no help from the audience. Here it is. In 1777, the American Army defeated the British under General Burgoyne. in what has become one of the truly decisive battles of world history. The American victory marked the turning of the tide of independence. What is the name of this battle?
We'll guess.
Okay, now what is the answer you two have decided upon, and talk right up into the microphone?
Battle of Yorktown?
No, I'm sorry. It's the battle of Saratoga.
Yes.
Huh? I'm sorry, that's the correct answer, so that means the big question next week will be worth $1,500. Well, you lost the big money, but you won how much? $180 in cash? Congratulations, and thanks to both of you.
You Bet Your Life is a John Goodell production, transcribed from Hollywood, directed by Bob Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at this time for the Groucho Marx Show, You Bet Your Life, presented to the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth, two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation. And don't forget, next week the big question will be worth $1,500.
Well, it's almost time for Bing Crosby, so good night, folks, and remember, just be sure to see your DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Folks, here's a reminder. Meeting human needs is the objective of all Red Cross services. Respond willingly to the 1950 Red Cross Fund campaign. Remember, you're not giving to, but through the Red Cross. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
How old are you, Maurice?
44 now.
Well, that's a wonderful age for marriage, isn't it, Irene?
Oh, I think it is.
Just about right, huh? Just right, too, I'd say now. Maurice, how tall are you?
About 5'8".
And how tall is your ideal man, Irene?
Oh, about 5'7" or 5'8".
I'll bet if Maurice was a midget, your ideal man would be about 3'6". Has dodging women ever led you into any peculiar experience, Maurice?
Well, only one that I can think of.
Well, that's the one we want. Well, let's have this yarn, Maurice.
I don't know how fitting it is, but here in Los Angeles, I took a young lady up to the apartment of a boyfriend of mine, and no one was home.
Well, so far you're okay, huh?
I couldn't get in, but I knew how to get in because he'd always lose his key, so we would push the garbage can aside and enter.
You had the garbage can in the living room?
When you were out in the hall, you could enter through the garbage entrance to get in to unlock the front door.
Well, that's the wealthiest garbage you'll ever encounter. You just said door, and that's our secret word tonight, so you just won $100 in cash. Compliments of the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. Do you remember what we were talking about when the bell rang?
After I'd gotten inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is door. D-O-O-R.
Really?
You bet your life. The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
It's a fine name for a grown man. Oh, that's me, Groucho Marx. Well, last week we dropped $3,500, so tonight we start fresh with $1,000 for one of our couples. George Fenneman, who gets first whack at it?
Just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected a bachelor and a spinster, and here they are, Mr. Maurice Hohenstein and Miss Irene Tom. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, kids, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. And if one of you says the secret word at any time, he wins $100 in cash. It's a common word, something you see every day. Bachelor and a spinster, eh? Miss Tom? How do you pronounce Tom?
Tom.
The H is silent, eh?
That's right.
Like in herring. What kind of work do you do, Miss Tom?
I handle the retirement records and special pension files for General Petroleum Corporation.
And Mr. Havenstein?
That's right. The name is Hohenstein. H-A-U.
Hohenstein, huh? Isn't there a cow that has that kind of a name?
Close to it.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Hohenstein?
Well, I'm office manager for the Owens, Illinois Glass Company.
Mm-hmm. Why aren't you married, Mr. Hohenstein?
Well, I think I'm pretty old now.
I don't know. Look at Barkley. Look at Mayor O'Dwyer. Huh? Look at Hedy Lamarr. I tell you, you look at O'Dwyer and I'll look at Hedy Lamarr. The word tonight is rinkum-ditty. Well, I must say you make a charming and attractive couple, and apparently you have a great deal in common. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to work together for a chance at $1,000. You bet your life.
The DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America have certain standards which they do their utmost to live up to. You might call this set of standards their creed. It means a lot to them, and to you as a car owner. This creed states that every DeSoto Plymouth dealer wants to and intends to treat you fairly and squarely, whether you come in for a new car, a used car, or just a simple repair job. It's the honest desire of everyone in the office and in the shop at your DeSoto Plymouth dealers to serve you to the best of his or her ability. Isn't this the kind of attention you want? Well then, wherever you drive, visit the DeSoto Plymouth dealer.
Now let's see if the next bachelor and the next spinster will be the ones who get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $1,000 question. Fenneman, bring them up to date on the rules.
Each of our three couples has $20. They bet as much of that 20 as they want on each of 4 questions. The couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $1,000 question at the end of the show. Our other 2 couples are in a waiting room off stage, so they don't know what's going on out here.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. You select the cities and states as your category. Is that right? All of these cities are over 50,000 in population. Now, here's your first question. You have $20. How much are you going to try?
$10.
$10? Okay. Now, in what state is the city of Providence?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is right.
And they're on their way with $30, Groucho.
All right. Remember, you're going for $1,000 tonight. Now, how much of the 30 are you going to try?
10 more.
In what state is the city of Jacksonville?
Florida.
Florida is right.
They're climbing. They have $40 now.
Now, here's your third question. How much of the 40 will you bet?
$20.
In what state is the city of Patterson?
New Jersey.
New Jersey is correct.
They're really on their way. They have $60.
Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much of the 60 will you bet?
$30.
$30. In what state is the city of Sioux City?
Iowa.
Iowa is right.
And they wind up with $90.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealer. Stick around now. You may get a chance at the big question.
Groucho, the secret word is still door.
I know that, George.
Well, perhaps the next couple will say it, too. We have a butler, Groucho, and a housewife selected from the studio audience just before we went on the air. And here they are, Mrs. Irene Colt and Mr. Urbano Galandanis. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks, to You Bet Your Life. And if one of you says the secret word, he wins $100 in cash instantly. It's a common word, something you see every day. A housewife and a butler, huh? Mrs. Butler, you're the housewife?
No, I'm Mrs. Gold.
What sort of work do you do?
I'm just a homemaker.
You do
Housewife.
Nothing.
Nothing. What do you mean, nothing?
And Mr. Galandinas, is that right?
That's right, sir.
You must be the butler, huh? Where are you from?
From the Philippines, sir.
The Philippines, huh? Well, what do you do as a butler? Just what do you do?
Well, see that the house runs smoothly. And,
house runs smoothly? You work in a trailer?
I could say that.
What was the best job you had as a butler, Mr. Gallandinus?
I work for a millionaire.
Oh, a millionaire? Huh? What was their name?
Oh, I would rather not say. That would embarrass him.
Well, could you give me their phone number? Huh? No, they might be looking for a gardener. I know I'm looking for a gardener. He stole my last bag of fertilizer.
Long distance, sir.
Tell me about their house. How many rooms?
Oh, there are 17 rooms in the house.
70 rooms?
17
rooms, huh?
I had to go around to unlock the front door. I didn't know that the boyfriend had moved out about 3 weeks before.
Well, whose garbage was it?
When I got inside, there was a man and his wife in bed. I was pretty dumbfounded, and then I suddenly noticed he was getting out of bed in no uncertain terms. And of course, the front...
What do you mean in no uncertain terms?
I could see blood in his eye or something. He was after me. The front door was right handy there, but I didn't go out the front door. I went back out this garbage hole.
Well, that's certainly a very romantic interlude in your life. Now, as a confirmed bachelor, Maurice, who cooks your meals and rinses the gravy out of your neckties?
Oh, almost anyone that's around.
Irene, are you a pretty good cook?
Well, I think I am.
What kind of a dish do you like to whip up? Anything in particular?
Well, I like fried chicken, but then, of course, I do have a recipe that I'm rather proud of that I like to serve to my friends called Rinkum Diddy.
Rinkum Diddy, did you say? Maurice, do you like Rinkum Diddy? You've never heard of Rinkum Diddy? Maurice, you've certainly led a sheltered and cloistered life. Irene, you're not trying to poison Maurice. What is Rinkum Diddy?
Well, it's really a Welsh rarebit.
Maurice, you obviously need a good woman to look after you. If Irene proposed to you right now, what would your answer be? Would it be no?
Yes.
Well, you've changed your mind, eh, Irene? Here he is, struggling but still alive, huh? Well, congratulations to you two. I know you'll be very happy. And remember, Maurice, the secret